But he certainly did seem in good spirits as well. And he came on and he said he really wanted to come here to update us a little bit with certain things. He said, and even if lots of things come from different directions, he just wanted to be here to not only wish us all a happy 4th of July, but also to give us a few points that he thought were important. And one of those was about being independent. And he was talking to us about how we individually need to strive to be independent on our own, and whether that is a money independence or a time freedom independence, or really what the goal is to have both time and money freedom. That should be your goal, and it certainly is the goal of ONPASSIVE, to be able to produce a platform that can give you that money and time freedom that people are looking for. One interesting point, and I'll probably cover this a little bit later, is that he did talk a lot about the automated part of ONPASSIVE, and how that is certainly going to help so many people to be able to automate their businesses and to be able to step away from it and let it build organically through the automation of it. And that was a really refreshing part for me, because we haven't heard much from him about the automated hands-free aspect of ONPASSIVE. Remember, that was certainly a huge part, wasn't it, in those early days of us talking about ONPASSIVE to other people about the fully automated part of it. And it was certainly great to hear him talking once again about that part of what ONPASSIVE is going to be doing. But there was a significant bit about all of that in between that he said, and that was that even though we are building something for you guys that's going to be fully automated, it's going to be hands-free, etc. If you really want to succeed within the business of ONPASSIVE, then you need to do something as well. Obviously, we've said this many, many times, haven't we? We've said that obviously those parts are going to be intact, and that is going to happen. But if you want to be truly successful, then you have to do a little bit of work yourself. So it was really good to learn about that from him yesterday. He also said the more we grow, the more we learn, which always has, and we always have something to learn, and an environment always allows us to do that, which is good for our health. We've taught, he said, you have actually taught me a lot. That is us. Now, when you've got the CEO saying that we've actually taught him something, now that is pretty unprecedented, really, isn't it? When you have a CEO saying that to his trusted early adopters. He said, you've put me in a position where I have to strive to seek out more knowledge. He said, and then he went into a little story about a girl who could count, etc. But the bottom line of that is you basically never stop learning. And he says, when you think you've succeeded, you haven't. All you've done is got to the top of where you are looking to succeed, but there is always more that you can learn moving forward. He said, we have overcome internal and external challenges. Now, I think this really has been an underlying theme of late, of the challenges that have happened to ONPASSIVE internally and externally. They have caused an awful lot of problems for the company. But he did go on to say as well, he says, we want better for you. We want you to be independent so that you don't have to rely on others, governments or companies. Whether it's ONPASSIVE or the White House working for you, you have to do your part of the job. And what he was referring to there is exactly what I was saying. It is that we do play a huge part of the success of ONPASSIVE. I've said it many, many times that without us as those early adopters and affiliates now having the backing of, backing the CEO and the company to see this project through to its final stage, then I think that really is an integral part of why the company's still here, why we are still surviving, why we are still pushing forward, is because of our backing that we give the CEO and the company to keep on going, to see it through to the very, very end, so that we can realize our own dreams as well, not only the company's dreams, but certainly our own dreams with what we feel and perceive that ONPASSIVE can give us. Who is that? That is Ivana Polsarova. Thank you so much for your super sticker, my darling. That's very, very kind of you. So I did find yesterday very interesting, actually, what he was talking about. And he does talk in riddles a little bit, but it was interesting that regardless of the amount of obstacles that the company come across, and even though you get rid of one obstacle, as soon as you turn a corner, guess what? Another one is put in front of you that you didn't even know was there, and you have to get over that one. And it certainly has made him more resilient, that's for sure. It certainly taught him an awful lot. And each day, as they say, is a learning day. And he really has grasped this and feels that it's certainly made him a much better person. It certainly made the company much more hardy because of the things that they've had to endure just to get to this stage. And this bodes very, very well for us in the future, because maybe if they come across... Sorry. Yeah, mate, the wind's blowing the doors and the dogs are going crazy. Maybe if some of these problems hadn't happened either earlier on or even later on, then it would have thrown up all sorts of problems. He also said your happiness cannot depend on the success of others. You can't rely on others to make you happy. You can make your life better and easier, but and as perfect as that may be, if you are coming from a different place and expecting ONPASSIVE to make you happy, then that's not going to happen. And I thought that was quite a poignant saying, really, and one that's very true, is that ONPASSIVE is certainly going to help all of us financially, for sure, and also for the time freedom that is going to bring. But it's not necessarily going to make you happy. Your happiness has to lie within yourself and your environment that you are in right now. He said nothing will give you that independence until you are mentally ready to take the steps and make that decision to be independent and not to rely on anyone else. And what he's trying to say here is that we can do our part in ONPASSIVE. We can build you the products and the platform and all the rest of it. But until you actually get your own head around where you want to go, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve within your happiness and your goals, then all we can do is produce these things. But it really is then up to you to take that bull by the horns and run with everything that we are going to give you. He said, think of it as a tool, a vehicle to accelerate your success and achieve your goals. This is what we are doing in ONPASSIVE. We are giving you that vehicle. We have different goals and we are not the same. Absolutely. Everybody's goal is completely different. We don't have the same expectations, and this is why we can only be adjusted in our own changes and the possibilities of that learning new things. We want you to have the opportunity to improve and move forward. He also said we have obviously made mistakes, but our intentions are pure. He said if you are in it wholeheartedly. And what I mean by that is within ONPASSIVE. And that means mentally involved as well as personally involved. Okay, you are doing your part to acquire this independence. He said you won't be completely free until you have a clear idea of where you want to go and use those tools to be able to produce the outcome within ONPASSIVE. Very poignant words, really, aren't they? That he's trying to tell us here that, yes, I'm building this company. Yes, I am building the tools and services that are going to be revolutionary. He talked about this as well yesterday, that he talked actually a little bit, didn't he, about the big companies out there, the Microsofts and the Amazons and all other companies, Apple and as well. And he was saying that, are these people, are we going to make an impact on these people? And he was saying, what we are doing, these guys have never seen. Now, when you have a CEO saying, what we are producing here, these guys don't even know about or have never seen, then you certainly know that we are going to produce revolutionary ways of doing business on the internet. Remember, it's not just about the products. There is so much more to ONPASSIVE than just those products. I actually did say and alluded to the huge importance of being able to access things in one place. And again, I don't really think we have seen how important that really is going to be in the future, where people can just access everything in one place under one roof. Anthony Abeti, thank you so much, my friend, for your super sticker. Very, very kind. Okay, so getting back to basics of having a complete solution, not just for the IT part, he said, but also the artificial intelligence, single sign-on and its integration. He said, we are accredited to ICANN as a domain name register, and we've made a lot of progress towards this independence. And he was just pointing out of all the things that have happened and how bit by bit we are not relying on other things. Now, a lot of this is to do, and I think, reading between the lines, pointing towards really the only other two huge stumbling blocks that ONPASSIVE has as far as not achieving its own 100% independence, and that is the hosting of our data as far as websites and iCloud is concerned with AWS services. Obviously, we all know that he is extremely keen to bring that, in-house within our own servers and data centers, but also the payment side of things as well. Those really are the only other two stumbling blocks left as far as being completely independent as a company and having it all in-house. And I think when he was saying about what we already have, he was letting us know about that. He also said money is another factor, and the use of our products and security, having our own data center. And he said, I can assure you that it is disruptive what we are doing. He said, this is nothing mid-range, nothing you haven't already seen or that the market has seen. It is completely new. He said, it really is crazy that what you're telling us. And like I go back, he said, these big names like Google, Azure and AWS really haven't seen this level of technology yet. Now, that's a brave statement, and he was saying it publicly, and he was saying that we really are another level up from what has been said. So very exciting times indeed as far as ONPASSIVE. He said, you will be surprised. There's always a first time for everything. He said, and I assure you that I'm counting on what we've done and what we know as part of this. He said, we won't be just average. He said, it comes, and at the same time, money is also a huge important factor. Now, again, what he's trying to say here is that when this next stage happens, he says he does realize and he does understand that the money part of ONPASSIVE is as important as everything else. We have said for a long time, haven't we, that we can't move on to the next stage of ONPASSIVE until that one backlog of our any monies that have been requested through commissions are paid out to those people prior to the next stage. And I think he knows this, he understands this, and this is really why we are in this paused part of ONPASSIVE at the moment. He said the need for traffic, people need to follow you so that you can keep working. Whether it's a question of education, communications, or finance, you need an audience. Now, traffic is a kind of audience at the end of the day. You look at a YouTuber, for instance, the very big ones. The amount of subscribers they have is an audience, but it's also a traffic source, isn't it? The amount of people that watch you, that is your organic traffic. This is really what makes you, I suppose, a person of interest as far as advertisers are concerned and all the rest of it. Why? Because whenever you are doing your thing, whether it's online or sending out information, people read it, people notice it, and if you are an advertiser, then that is an organic form of traffic, isn't it? Because they look at that and say, yeah, whatever that person's talking about, other people are going to listen. And obviously, if we can have what we've got shown in front of these people, then we stand a much better chance of that traffic going to the right people. He said, since our creation, the traffic industry or its structure has changed. Absolutely. Remember back in the days when it was click ads and even pay-per-clicks, email advertising, etc. All of these, and even flyers. Remember people putting flyers through letterboxes, etc. All of that was forms of advertising and traffic, and a lot of things have changed within the industry since then, and all these solutions can be found now are on a single platform. This requires a different approach to acquiring and generating traffic, customers and visitors. He said we need to make it our own. Now, how do you make that traffic your own? He said we don't have all the details yet, given the latest developments. He said, but in this new chapter, I will be able to tell you more about how it's all going to be distributed, which means we're going to dominate everything because data is a new commodity in this country. Now, this is a very interesting part of what he was saying yesterday, is that really without traffic, you're dead in the water, aren't you? We've given many examples of footfall and people passing your shop or whatever. But if you're in the shop at the back, how do you get people to look at your wares? Well, you need to have traffic to look at your wares. Nowadays, online is your traffic source, but how do you get those people to look at what you are doing? Ashmifara was certainly telling us that the old ways of generating traffic has gone. He has got a new revolutionary one, and obviously he's going to show us and let us know how we can plug into that and how we as ONPASSIVians are going to benefit from all that. So certainly read in between those lines that if he is telling us that we really are going to dominate the traffic market and we are going to be part of that. Now, that is a huge, huge, massive plus for ONPASSIVE because data really, really is everything nowadays. It gets sold to third parties for literally millions of dollars because having that data really is the success of businesses because of the marketing that they use it for. He said, we've done a lot of work there, but there's also still a lot to do. For sure. He said OCONNECT and is temporary. He said at the moment, the return is always more pleasant and it will get better. He actually did say as well that it's not necessarily a bad thing that we haven't got OCONNECT and our ecosystem at the moment, because you really don't know what you're missing until you haven't got it to a certain extent. So they're obviously doing things behind the scenes and in the background. He said the return is always more pleasant and it will be better. It lets us know that value we have in our hands without having access to it, and thus avoiding recalls for manufacturers, etc. He said that's just dangerous. The best is yet to come. Leave difficulties to us. Complicated situations have made us much stronger, and we've learned a lot. We are working on the most complete and independent solution. He said all you have to do is to be part of it. Just one moment. Hang on a minute. Tanya's just sent me a note, and she said that she thinks they are on the website at the moment. Fantastic news. He said, you need a company that works all the time. Otherwise, you are limited. That's what we do. An automated business, 24/7, 7 days a week, all year round. He said, if the money doesn't stop, why should the business stop? He said, you can do more, earn more, and grow more. How much can you do, and how much you do, giving back the return. Things are changing. Don't give up, he said. Don't let yourself be fooled. Just because you don't see anything doesn't mean that nothing is happening in the background. He said it really, truly is a battle. I've said this so many times, especially when I'm doing the recaps, etc. What we see externally from our side has zero bearing whatsoever on what is happening behind the scenes. For our own conscience and for our own karma, I suppose, we need to realize and understand that this man is doing absolutely everything he possibly can for the good and the benefit of us, the early adopters and affiliates of ONPASSIVE. Otherwise, things would have been in a completely different direction. He wants to make the promises that he has said all along come to fruition, and that is definitely a huge plus for all of us. He said, and once again, I can only insist that you must be independent. If you are a prisoner at work time, you're not free and you can't enjoy your financial freedom. Only your solution can give you this freedom. You must find your voice for your advantage and your total freedom. Remember, freedom of time and freedom of finances. This is what we are all after. He said, you can have financial freedom, but not time freedom, which is the most difficult of all. He said, you really need to change your environment, okay, to be able to have all of this. It is difficult. You know, he does understand that people have got to work to earn a living, etc. He said, but your goal must be to try and be in a position where you are time and financially free. He said, we're going to bless you in the future, and that's what we're working towards. Life is hard. It doesn't always go the way that you want it to. And he said, this is not what you think. You will be surprised, and that's for the good of humanity. We are confident. Let's cultivate the positivity together. We are independently drops of water, but together we form an ocean. I've been recovering for 4 weeks and I'm only using one ear, but two is better, he laughed. Anyway, he said, take care of yourselves and your health, and a happy 4th of July. I would like to thank, by the way, Gabrielle Sturge, who did these notes for me yesterday. They've been absolutely excellent. I've been on point of what Ash Mufareh said. We really are, obviously, minds wander when we don't hear things. Minds wander when we don't see things. And it's very easy for all of us to go down routes and think things unintentionally, of course, of the whys and the whos of why we haven't got our OES at the moment, why we haven't got OFOUNDERS at the moment, why we haven't got our commissions at the moment. And your mind really sometimes is your world's worst enemy, because it conjures and it deceives and it makes you think down routes that you shouldn't be going down. Keep thinking back, guys, and looking at what has happened within ONPASSIVE. He's here. He hasn't gone away. He keeps turning up. He keeps striving. He keeps driving. And all of this he is doing for all of us. Look at the bigger picture. Look at what is trying to be achieved here. And we have to play our part. And that is backing our CEO, backing the company, and seeing this huge plan through to its fruition. Obviously, he's saying to us, we're not that far away. He can't give any timelines. But one thing he is saying, when we see it, we are going to be shocked. We're going to be surprised. And that is going to be in a good way. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for coming on.